Hi, welcome to my very first video. My name is Uber and I've been trying to start developing in Unity for a long time, so I decided to create this video series to document the process and share it with you guys. To give you some context, I'm a software engineer, I have some experience with C#, a very basic understanding of Unity, and I'm a horrible designer, so you will watch me struggle a lot with my drawings. Also, I don't have a lot of experience editing videos, so I hope I can improve some of those skills too during this video series. Feel free to make any suggestion in the comments, and if you have any question, send it to me that I will do my best to answer it. Well, to begin this video series, I decided to create a very basic game that consists primarily on a spaceship, a spacecraft, where you start up in the air and you start falling, and you need to navigate the terrain, avoiding all obstacles, and try to land safely in a flat area. Everything is going to be physics based, meaning that the movement and the control of the player needs to mimic the physics in real life, so we will going to be using forces and torque instead of just changing the position of the objects. And I'm thinking about using vectorial thrust, kind of in the rockets, where you have one thrust source in the back that is always pushing you to the front, and if you want to move sideways you need to tilt the spacecraft and use the acceleration. I think that is going to make for a funny movement system. Of course, we will always have gravity pushing us down. We can tweak that value, we can play with that value. Another mechanic that I think is going to be fun to implement is the fuel system. Basically, it's a resource. You only have a limited amount of fuel and you need to use it wisely. And on the other hand, to add some challenging or some competition, we can add some time. With the time you can compare yourself or compare your result with other people. I'm not sure about the system, but I don't think it's going to be really hard to implement, so we will see in the future. We are just playing with the idea, with the design. Also, I'm thinking about using power-ups or, for example, fuel, to force the player navigate certain terrain and to make some decision. Is it worth it to go to a risky area to get a power up, or maybe to go through a shortcut? Do you follow the easiest, longest path? Do you follow the riskier one that is shorter? I think those are the basic core mechanics of our game. As I told you before, drawing or design in general is by far my weakest skill. I have an engineer head, so I have no sense of design. I struggle a lot finding the colors and everything. So for this game I decided to use Illustrator. I had no experience with Illustrator. I just been watching a couple of YouTube videos during the week. I found a design that I think I can pull off, that is basically using geometrical shapes and overlapping them and adding a couple of cheeky effects. I think it's looking good. At least I'm a bit proud. Nevertheless, this is just a prototype, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time focusing on the design. We are just testing the idea. We need to check if the game is fun, if people like it. So just a basic aircraft, and the same goes for the map. I'm just sketching a very quick map, adding a couple of flat areas and tweaking a bit the points. And we did it! Finally, after all these hours, we're finally in Unity. I'm setting up a basic scene here, just using the map and the spacecraft, the asset that we just created, just checking the sizes and making everything look okay. First thing that we need to do is we need to add a couple of colliders, one for the map and the other one for the spacecraft. And also we will add a rigid body 2D for the spacecraft, and that is going to handle all the physics related things. In a quick test we see that the spacecraft falls. That's it basically. For now it only falls, so we are going to add some behavior. And to do so, I'm going to start with a very basic script. First of all, I need the input from the user. I'm going to use the axis, and just because I use a game controller to test, and using the axis allow me to change between keyboard and game controller. Then I need to calculate the force using acceleration, that is a variable, and the time, that delta time. Finally, that force, I need to add that force to the game object, so I'm using the rigid body and I'm adding that force to the object in the forward direction. I start with a random value, I test it and nothing happens. We are still crashing, so let me check the code. I have no idea what is happening, so I'm going to debug and see if I'm getting any value. I change gravity to 0 so I don't fall, and I can test. I see that I'm getting a value, so maybe the thing is that the value is not strong enough to fight gravity. I try with a bigger value, same problem. Let's go with a bigger one. And now we are shooting. It's time to tweak, but basically our script is working, so good job. We have thrust, we need to find the right value. So now you're going to see me playing with the controls. I'm going to change the values until I find the balance, until I'm comfortable with it. I'm going to extract that to a new method, and I'm going to create the rotation. It's the same principle, but instead of adding a force, we're going to be adding a torque. So I'm using another variable for the rotation speed and calculating the value and applying it as a torque. Since it's going to be a torque, it's going to allow us to rotate to the left or to the right. First test, we are way high, so we need to use a smaller value. Again, there is no science in here, or actually there is, but I don't feel like doing all this math. I'm just going to tweak the values and play with them. This looks better, but it's still a bit wobbling, so let's play a bit more. As you can see, I'm changing a lot of values. I cannot find it, and this can actually take hours, so just enjoy me play with my game. I know that this may look frustrating, but to me it's one of the most fun parts of game development. When it's just you and your game, and you're playing and trying to understand it and why it's behaving the way it is behaving. It's just fun. So here it is. This is our final project after an entire day of work, drawing, coding, and getting the values right. This is what we have. So I hope you enjoyed, and see you next week maybe, when I have time. Please feel free to comment anything, any suggestion, any question that you have. I will try to make this a weekly log, but I cannot promise anything because I have a full-time job and a lot of responsibilities. So see you later.